A chosen one wrapped in golden light came to put the Bai Clan's idiot young master in his place. And instead, his own legendary divine sword is knocked spinning out of his hand, and he drops to his knees in front of the whole square. Impossible! I'm a heaven's chosen! Fate itself favors me! Our villain just tilts his head, faintly bored. Fate favors you? Then why are you the one on the ground? Golden English letters only our boy can see flare across his vision, a fat stack of points for outclassing one of the heaven's own favorites. And he stoops to scoop up the fallen genius's evolving divine sword like he's pocketing loose change. The protagonist written to bury him just became his loot. He turns to a crowd that came expecting to watch him lose. The elders who spent years calling the young master of the Bai Clan a brain-dead waste can't get their jaws off the floor. When did he get this strong? Our villain just smiles with those cold red eyes, because that single question is the whole game. And to answer it, we rewind to the day a doomed boy opened the wrong pair of eyes. Before any of this, there was a man on Earth, a 9-to-5, late nights gaming, a graveyard of trashy cultivation web novels, who shut his eyes one night and woke up somewhere that wants him dead. He jolts upright in a stranger's silk-draped bed, heart slamming, jade floor cold under bare feet, as a tidal wave of borrowed memories nearly splits his skull. He's Bai Zihan now, 16, third-rate young master of the Bai Clan in the desolate Heaven Empire. And the first thing those memories scream is that this body is famous for exactly one thing, being a useless, stumbling waste the whole empire loves to mock. A bully, a coward, a disappointment. The discount villain everybody's waiting to see crushed. Then, it gets worse. Our boy cross-references his Earth memories of 1,000 garbage novels against his new family, and the blood drains from his face. My family is a villain family destined to die. This isn't the hero's house, it's the cannon fodder house, and he's the most disposable body in it. He counts the death flags out loud like he's reading his own obituary. 1 week ago, his genius sister publicly shattered an engagement with a crippled fiancé, a walking protagonist cliché destined to rise and topple her clan. Flag 1, already planted. Worse, his own mother once ripped a Dao bone out of his cousin and stuffed it into him to fix his talent. Even if the ex-fiancé doesn't kill me, our boy mutters. The cousin comes back for her bone and finishes the job. He's surrounded by his own future assassins, and the plot hasn't even started. He paces, weighing escape. Cut ties and run? But the original body made enemies everywhere with his bullying, and half the empire would gut him the second he left the family's protection. I'd die faster out there than in here. Trapped between protagonists who want him dead and victims who want him deader. No, I still have this. A golden panel hovers in his vision, glued to his eyes since birth, something he could never close or swipe away. For 16 years, it blurred every face, smeared every sword form, buried every lesson behind a translucent screen. That screen is the real reason everyone branded him a blind, talentless waste. He was never untalented. He was fighting with his eyes tied shut. A system interface floating in front of his face for 16 years, while the world laughed at the boy who couldn't see straight. And the punchline that ruined his whole life? Why the hell is this in English? The system speaks a language nobody in this world reads, until our boy got his Earth memories back. 16 years branded an idiot, all because he couldn't read 2 foreign words. He throws his head back and laughs like a madman in an empty room. Then, the moment he stops, he tests it. Close. The blinding interface vanishes, and for the first time in this body, the world snaps into razor focus. He stares at his own hands like he's never seen them. Then he summons it back on purpose, because the curse that wrecked his life is now the only thing that can save it. Let's see what you really are. Cold gold text unfolds, and his grin turns dangerous. The rules light up. He earns points by defying fate, twisting cliches, stealing fortunes meant for heaven's chosen, and, best of all, by challenging people far stronger than himself. So to claim these treasures, I gamble against fate itself, he murmurs, and win. The doomed villain just found his cheat code. He pops open the rewards tab and finds the system's been quietly logging every cruel thing the original body ever did. Our boy claims the whole backlog at once, points for every weakling the old Bai Zihan bullied, a stack of cards, and a body refinement art with no listed grade. So my villainy wasn't completely useless. Over 27,000 points. Crime pays. He dives into the store, and his red eyes widen at space-cleaving sabers and death-defying pills. Then locks onto the thing that matters most, a heaven-grade cultivation technique, the myriad breathing method, 200% chi absorption. 15,000 points, gone in a blink. The waste just upgraded his engine past every genius in his clan. He cracks a 10x cultivation card and drops into a trance, chi flooding in like a burst dam. And a boy who used to fail breakthroughs for a month straight rockets up a full realm in a single sitting. He exhales a thin mist of chi, stunned. So this is what geniuses feel like. Then he eyes the scariest gift of all, the primordial chaos body refinement, which lets the body break itself down and rebuild, devouring all energy. With one footnote: fail, and your body collapses and you die. Our boy reads the death clause twice, then sets it aside for later. He's reckless, not suicidal. Yet. His maid, Luo Qing, nearly drops the bathwater when the young master looks her dead in the eye and speaks in clear, even sentences for the first time in her life. "Young master, your eyes," she stammers. The boy who could never find a face is staring straight into hers. Our boy just orders his bath, calm and unbothered, while she stands frozen. This is the first time the young master has ever looked into my eyes, she thinks, baffled. The legend of the cured idiot begins quietly, in steam. His sister sweeps in next, Bai Qing, silver hair, ice blue eyes, the Bai Clan's first true genius, and one of the most dazzling figures in the whole empire. She braces to babysit a sniveling fool, and instead finds him lounging there, meeting her gaze without a single flinch. "Bai Zihan, what are you doing?" she demands, all authority. He shrugs. Taking a bath. What does it look like? The hall goes dead silent. Nobody talks back to her, least of all the waste. Luo Qing nearly faints. Her eyes narrow to slits, because the cowering little brother she's known her whole life is just gone. No avoidance, no flinching. He looks straight at her. Something's wrong with him, she thinks. Wrong in a way she can't name. Our boy lets her stew, because the longer they underestimate him, the more fate he gets to steal. Trouble walks in fast and arrogant. Out in a courtyard, a proud Heaven Sword sect disciple named Shen Liang has been circling Bai Qing and treating the Bai Clan like dirt. While two of his sect sisters, Yun Qingmei and Fei Ling, look down their noses at the family. Shen Liang sizes our boy up with open contempt. "In consideration of my relationship with junior sister Xueqing, I'll let you off this time. But stop harassing our female disciples." Bad move. Our villain doesn't swallow it. He sharpens it. "Chasing my sister around like a licking dog," he laughs, then twists the knife. Maybe Shen Liang himself talked her into breaking that engagement. The disciple's aura surges, fury barely leashed. "Mind your words, Bai Zihan." But our boy just spreads his arms, grinning, daring him to swing in enemy territory. Shen Liang chokes down his rage and reaches for the cruelest line he's got. "A dog who only barks behind the safety of his family. No wonder Bai Qing never mentions you. You're a disgrace." Slap! Faster than anyone can track, our boy's palm cracks across the Heaven Sword disciple's face and snaps his head sideways. A red handprint blooms. The whole courtyard turns to stone. Nobody slaps a Heaven Sword disciple. Nobody except our boy. Then comes the part that's pure villain genius. Not the fists, the mouth. When the elders convene to judge the assault, our boy calmly reframes the whole thing. Who insulted whom, who threatened a host clan first, who provoked first. He waltzes the room, straight into ruling against the outsider, twisting truths and lies until Shen Liang is the one apologizing. The disciple leaves humiliated and plotting, choking on the fact that the idiot out-argued him in front of everyone. Lesson 1. Our boy wins the fight and the paperwork. To make the next threat back off, he reaches into the store and pulls a sword art, 9 shadows flowing light. Straight into his soul, then burns an enlightenment card to drill it to minor mastery in a single afternoon. He swings once, and 9 afterimages chase the blade. The waste now fights with a sword that lies about where it is. Then his father, clan leader Bai Tianheng, summons him to the throne hall and drops the bomb. You are to be engaged to Chu Zian of the Chu clan. Our boy's lazy smirk freezes solid. What? In a world where every smile is a trap, someone wants to marry the family idiot? That's not a gift, That's bait with a ring on it. The memories that surface make his stomach drop, because he knows this bride. Years ago, a red-eyed little terror named Chu Ziyan pinned little Bai Zihan to the dirt, knocked him around, and made him crawl after her as her personal servant for sport. The girl who tormented him as a child is personally demanding his hand. He schemes for an exit and finds every door nailed shut. Both fathers want the alliance, the clan wants it, and a fleeing groom hands the elders an excuse to strip his heir title. Trapped in an engagement, he sighs. If he can't escape the demon woman, he'll rattle her, with a weapon no one in this whole cultivation world has ever tasted. He commandeers a kitchen and cooks with earth memories. Real heat, real seasoning, fried chicken hot enough to start a war. The first bite drops a servant to her knees with tears in her eyes. Word tears through the manor that the idiot young master cooks like a literal god of cooking. In a world of bland spirit rice, our boy just invented flavor. Chu Ziyan finally arrives at the Bai Clan, red-eyed, sharp as a drawn blade, the kind of beauty people whisper is a demon woman. Our boy braces for venom. Instead, in private, she sizes him up like livestock rather than a fiancé. The bride has an agenda, and it isn't romance. He catches the calculation behind her smile. A man this overlooked, this beaten down, this scorned. Feed him a little kindness now, and he'll be easy to leash. Right now, he's vulnerable, she thinks. If I'm kind to him, I can control him. Dramatic irony, piping hot. She's trying to domesticate a man holding a cheat system. So our boy sends a plate of his fried chicken straight to her, purely to throw her off balance, and it lands far too well. The cold, scheming beauty who wanted a controllable husband takes one bite and her composure cracks like thin ice. She came to leash a pet. She leaves, quietly addicted to his cooking. He files that hunger away as a leash of his own. Now, the body. Our villain finally commits to the primordial chaos refinement, and it is not a montage. It's agony. His body breaking itself down and rebuilding from the ground up, pain sharp enough to shatter a grown cultivator's mind. He grits through hell most cultivators would never survive. Rebirth through pain. He walks out the far side with his strength multiplied several times over, all of it packed into a frame everyone still thinks is feeble. He flexes one hand and feels the new monster underneath. The waist just became a tank wearing a waist's face. His cousin Bai Jian, the diligent golden boy the elders want as heir instead of him, already a full golden core cultivator, finally snaps and lunges with a full power punch, forgetting in his rage to hold back. Golden core chi screams toward the waist's skull. The whole garden braces to watch a crippling. Our boy doesn't move an inch. Thud. One palm rises and closes around the fist, swallowing a golden core punch whole. And our villain, 2 whole realms weaker on paper, doesn't slide back a step. Bai Jian's arm trembles, his mind blank. He caught it? Is that all? Our boy asks flatly and squeezes. Then, bam! A kick buries itself in Bai Jian's gut and launches the mighty genius off his feet, sending him crashing across the stone like an insect flicked off a table. Even Chu Ziyan's heart jolts. The heir question just got very complicated. Engagement day arrives, and the vultures circle. The Li clan and the Zhao clan show up with smiles like drawn knives, sniffing for one public chance to humiliate the Bai family's joke of a young master. Their prized genius, Li Feng, steps out and challenges Bai Zihan, certain he'll make an example of the idiot. But the real danger isn't Li Feng's fists, it's the silver tongue beside him. Zhao Chen glides in, all reason and warmth, framing the duel as mere closure for a heartbroken young man. Surely the great Bai clan wouldn't be so petty as to deny him that. The crowd nods along, charmed into a trap. Bai Shuiqing's cold eyes lock onto Zhao Chen and cut straight through the velvet. Enough with the flowery words. You only say this because you know how weak my brother is and want to bully him. Do you think I'm stupid? The schemer's smile thins. But our boy steps forward anyway, because he sees a wallet with legs. Before agreeing, our villain haggles the stakes and aims absurdly high, demanding a heaven-grade treasure as the bet, then calmly insisting he hold the prize before the fight even starts. Drunk on confidence, the Li clan actually hands a heaven-grade artifact to the waist up front. Half the square winces. He just pocketed the loot before throwing a single punch. To prove there's no trick, Li Feng locks his own cultivation down to core formation with a spirit-sealing pendant for 1 full hour, certain his superior technique will crush the waste anyway. I don't want to bully you too much, he smirks. You can have the first move. Our villain shrugs lazily. All right, I'll oblige. Our boy obliges with one punch. It lands on Li Feng's raised guard, and the prodigy's whole defense caves like paper as he's hurled clear across the square, arm hanging useless at his side. The crowd that came to laugh at the idiot watches him wreck a celebrated genius in a single move. Li Feng writhes on the stone, clutching the ruin of his arm. You took my treasure and then crippled me, he howls, as if the universe owes him better. Our villain crouches down, unbothered, almost kind. You bet it, I collected. The whole Li clan's revenge play ends with their champion broken and our boy richer. Zhao Chen's beautiful trap has blown up in his hands. The humiliation he engineered landed on his own side, in front of every clan that came to watch. He keeps his composure, but behind the eyes, the calculation has already turned cold. Our boy just made 2 great clans his enemies and walked away holding their treasure. Worth it. With the engagement settled and the clan's enemies bleeding, our villain decides it's time to go hunting where the real protagonists breed. The Heaven's Sword Sect, the Empire's great cradle of geniuses, a whole mountain of unclaimed Heaven's Chosen just waiting for his detector. He packs light. He's not going there to learn. He's going there to shop. The sect greets the Bai thug with sneers, Shen Liang's smear campaign having arrived ahead of him. But an elder named Qinglan watches the gossip swirl and, against every rumor, accepts Bai Zihan onto Mystic Moon Peak as her own disciple. Just like that, our boy has a roof, a master, and a mountain full of Heaven's Chosen he can finally point his detector at. He looks up at the peak with a small smile. Time to go shopping for protagonists. The detector pings almost immediately, and it lands on the least likely target in the whole sect, a lowly handyman named Lin Xuan, a bullied nobody who scrubs floors and never fights back. The system flags him gold, a real Heaven's Chosen, a future sword monster the plot is quietly grooming. Everyone else sees a servant. Our boy sees an unclaimed protagonist. He watches the kid take beating after beating without breaking, and the gears turn cold. He'll run the exact trick Chu Zian once tried on him, because a debt of gratitude is a leash no one can see. So he does the thing villains are never supposed to do. He hands the starving handyman an Earth-grade cultivation method, the star-breathing technique, the highest grade of art in the entire empire. The watching disciples nearly choke. Earth-grade? For a handyman? That's impossible. He tops it off with a jade bottle of high-quality pills as a first meeting gift, promising the boy every resource he'll ever need. Lin Xuan, who has never once had anyone bet on him, takes the deal with shining, grateful eyes. Our boy just signed a gold-tier protagonist as staff, and the kid thinks he's the lucky one. But the sect's proud head disciple, Fang Jinyan, has orders straight from Shen Liang. Make him fall from his pedestal. Bai Zihan must appear weak, so weak that even his clan name won't save him. So Fang Jinyan and the gossip Kong Zanhong corner our boy at the Cloud Pavilion, all sly smiles, ready to humiliate the newcomer in public. Our villain doesn't flinch. He pours cold authority into the pavilion, freezing Fang Jinyan's smug grin, then slips him a 1,000-vein parasite pill in a cup of tea, a poison that nests in the soul and answers only to its master. The head disciple wakes up, still proud, still important, and completely unaware he now belongs to our villain, a flawless mole feeding intel straight out of Shen Liang's own faction. The schemer keeps plotting his revenge to a man already on our boy's payroll. Our villain adds one more piece to the board, Kong Zanhong, the sycophantic gossip who can dig up anything on anyone. He doesn't need the man strong, he needs him plugged in. Now our boy holds a poisoned spy, an addicted demon woman fiancé, a loyal protagonist, and an information rat. He isn't building an army, he's curating one. Then the rat brings a name that freezes our villain mid-step, Bai Xinye, his own cousin. The detector lights her up like a bonfire, a true Heaven's Chosen, gold Tao resonance, reincarnated talent, tragic past, terrifying growth. And the tragedy at the root of her future is a Bai Clan crime. Years ago, his mother tore out this girl's Tao bone and gave it to him. A heavenly phoenix, reborn. That's the destiny coiled inside the cousin his family robbed and exiled. Our boy realizes he's staring straight at his own assassin's origin story. In the script, she comes back a monster to gut the family that stole her destiny, starting with the cousin wearing it. Walking into a protagonist's territory alone is a death flag, he mutters. Guess I'd better bring my life insurance. Then he goes to meet her anyway. up on Azure Cloud Peak. Ice cold, untouchable, the old grudge burning behind her eyes, whether she names it or not. He doesn't grovel and doesn't run. He plants himself in her path, like a man who's decided this particular death flag can wait its turn. She files him under problem. Good. Let her think it's that simple. The whole sex attention swings to the grand assessment test, and our boy makes very sure his handyman is standing in line. There's a written trial, a combat trial, and then the one that matters, the Tao resonance mirror, the device that measures a disciple's true sword soul. Lin Xuan, the floor-scrubbing nobody, steps up to it. The mirror screams gold. A gold-gray Tao resonance, a once-a-generation sword soul in a handyman everyone wrote off. The hall erupts. Disciples who kicked Lin Xuan a week ago go pale. Our boy just leans back, because he called this weeks ago. Instantly, a bidding war detonates. Every peak master in the sect suddenly wants the handyman as their personal disciple, hurling treasures and promises at him. Overnight, Lin Xuan goes from scrubbing floors to the hottest commodity on the mountain. The peaks circle the prize like wolves, and then the kid opens his mouth and ends the auction. Lin Xuan publicly chooses Mystic Moon Peak, chooses to stand behind the young master who fed him when he was nobody, in front of the entire sect. Loyalty over luxury, out loud. Every smear Shen Liang ever spread about Bai Zihan being a fraud shatters on the spot. The villain just got a gold-tier protagonist to vouch for him on stage. But Shen Liang isn't done. He stages one last play, a fresh round of accusations, whispers of cheating and coercion, lies planted beneath the bed. A whole little theater built to bury Bai Zihan in scandal. The trap is laid, witnesses bought, the script ready. He's certain this is the move that finally ends the waste. Our villain walks into the judgment hall with his poisoned mole already feeding him every card the other side holds. Dare to accuse me? One by one, he dismantles the accusations, turning Shen Liang's own witnesses, evidence, and timeline against him. The schemer wrote gets flipped page by page in front of every elder. The trap snaps shut on the trapper. The case closes hard, and it closes on Shen Liang. The man who built his entire revenge on rumors just watched the rumors turn and eat him alive. Closed case. Reputation reborn. When justice finally demands payment, Shen Liang loses far more than face. Cornered, exposed, outmaneuvered at every turn, he's stripped of his standing and his future and slinks away ruined, the architect of his own downfall. Our boy never even had to draw a blade for it. He just let the schemer trip over his own knives again and again until there was nothing left. Riding the momentum, our villain cashes a system reward that has no business sitting on a waist, a supreme Tao bone, finer than the one his mother once stole, absorbed straight into his frame. His foundation rockets to something the geniuses around him can only dream of, pushing him deep into the golden core realm. The body-branded trash is quietly outclassing the chosen. Then, word comes from home, and our boy rides back to the Bai Clan to find a fresh infection festering. The Bai Clan, where a woman named Mei Rulan has been flinging false accusations around, testing whether the family's waist has any teeth left. He sets out for Manhwa City to answer her. Cross him, and you don't get a scolding. He remembers the rule he set himself the day he woke up. Villains who hesitate die in 3 chapters. So he doesn't hesitate. He dismantles the Bai Clan's arrogance piece by piece, publicly, until there's nothing left to gossip with. The Empire watches the idiot young master burn a whole clan for daring to test him. And that wreckage is the powder keg for the moment the cold open promised. As the Bai Clan's pride collapses, a young man strides into the square, wrapped in golden light and certainty. Mo Yi Chen, a heaven's chosen, 1-star fate, gripping an evolving divine blade called the Eternal Spirit Sword. He challenges our villain in front of everyone. Sure, the heavens have his back. It's the classic protagonist challenge, and our boy plays right into it, letting the chosen one think he's cornered the waist. You're after my sword? Then come take it. Mo Yi Chen has no idea he just walked into a fight he was never going to win. Mo Yi Chen burns his own life force to wake the Eternal Spirit Sword to its full blazing power, certain a protagonist simply cannot lose to a side character villain. The blade roars divine light across the square. Our boy meets it head-on, 9 shadows splitting into a storm of phantom strikes, and watches the destined trump card sputter, dim, and start losing ground. No, this can't be. I'm a heaven's chosen. Mo Yi Chen's confidence comes apart as a horrible suspicion lands too late. The villain was never afraid of him, and was probably circling that sword the whole time. Our boy doesn't gloat. He overwhelms the Chosen One in a few cold exchanges, half bracing for the sky itself to punish him for daring to topple one of fate's favorites. And nothing punishes him. No curse, no lightning, no cosmic backlash. Just a beaten Chosen One, a silent square, and golden text flaring behind his red eyes. He waits a beat for the heavens to strike him down for it. Nothing comes. No retribution. Our villain smiles. The biggest rule of this world, that you simply don't cross fate's favorites, just turned out to be a bluff. Let's see what I got for taking down a Heaven's Chosen. 10,000 points, a 100-fold cultivation card, and a crystal of refined sword intent that kicks his 9 shadows up to greater mastery. The reward the system always promised is real, and it's obscene. Outshining protagonists isn't just survival now, it's the fastest cultivation cheat he's ever found. He scoops up the Eternal Spirit Sword the fallen genius dropped and tucks it into his ring beside his other blade, casual as pocketing a tip. Watching from the edge of the square, his father and the clan's Grand Elder can't form words. A father's shock doesn't cover it. The boy they pitied as a hopeless idiot just outfought a true Heaven's Chosen and walked off with his sword. That kill rockets our villain onto the radar of far bigger players, and it draws him toward the biggest prize on the horizon. An ancient sealed inheritance, the legacy of a long-dead immortal, about to open inside a hidden realm. Whoever claims it, rumor says, could be crowned the next emperor. Every genius, every Heaven's Chosen, every faction in the empire is racing for it. Even the royal family descends. The 4th princess, Yu Qingya, lands in icy robes, the one who froze a sect patriarch in a single strike. The 7th prince, Yu Longshuan, arrives on a roar of thunder and a coiling golden dragon. And the quiet 3rd prince, Yu Wenjiao, walks in trailing 6 grand elders and the heaviest pressure of all. Into that den of dragons strolls our waste, the boy who is supposed to die in 3 chapters, hands in his sleeves. A pack of geniuses tries to bottleneck him at the entrance, demonic sect prodigies and ambitious heirs sizing up the killer of a Chosen One. One of them, a demonic sect genius named Mo Tianji, hatches a scheme to put the upstart in his place inside the ruins. The first trial is a gauntlet of crushing chi pressure, the air thickened 100-fold, a weight engineered to grind even prodigies to their knees with every step. Geniuses buckle all around him, gasping, driven to their knees as their bodies fail to refine the flood. But our villain still has his 100-fold cultivation card burning and a primordial chaos body that drinks the pressure like wine. He strolls through the gauntlet with his hands in his sleeves, faintly bored, treating the trap as the best cultivation chamber he's ever stood in. He strolls right up to Mo Tianji, who's locked in place, veins bulging, barely surviving the same pressure that's a vacation for our boy. Oh, mighty Mo Tianji, what happened? Slap. The demonic sect saint can't even retaliate. The instant he stops channeling to swing back, the chi crushes him flat. Our villain has found the one place in the world where he can do anything and no one can touch him. So he does everything. He rests his elbow on Mo Tianji's head like a footstool, slaps him again, knocks him across the room. Methodically thrashing the demonic prodigy, half humiliation, half experiment, coldly measuring how Mo Tianji's celebrated refined body stacks up against his own primordial chaos frame. Even the saintess of the demonic sect, watching, feels a chill. He's toying with a feared monster like a bored child and ignoring an immortal's inheritance to do it. When he finally draws his sword to finish the job, the inheritance itself has to stop him. Phalian's remnant soul flickers into being and snaps. You are not allowed to fight or kill in this first trial. Our boy just smirks. I don't think you mentioned that before. The remnant, flustered, invents the rule on the spot because no one was ever supposed to be strong enough to slaughter every rival in the gauntlet. The villain broke the trial so hard, the trial had to rewrite itself. He spends the rest of the hour cultivating in the dense chi, casually breaking through a realm while everyone else claws to survive. Then, on his way out, he flicks a hand at Mo Tianji's face. The prodigy flinches so hard, he nearly drops where he stands. Our boy laughs. If I knew you were such a scaredy cat, I wouldn't have bullied you. Then he waves at the whole stunned room like he's leaving a party. Bye-bye. See you later. The second trial is a hall of floating scrolls, thousands of martial arts the immortal collected in her youth, and the task is to pick one and reach minor mastery. Our boy browses the heaven-grade techniques like a kid in a candy shop, picks the eternal flowing water sword to patch his only weakness, and sits down. Less than an hour later, the remnant soul returns to find him already done. Heaven grade, minor mastery, in under 60 minutes, and visibly malfunctions. You? In less than an hour? Our boy yawns. Not everyone can be me. What should take a top genius days, he finished over a lunch break on the strength of his intermediate sword intent alone. And the only other person in the entire trial to clear the same heaven-grade gauntlet is, of all people, his cousin, Bai Xinyui, who earns the remnant's open, rare praise. Two Bai Clan freaks leave a hall full of Empire-famous prodigies still failing to grasp the basics. Even Chu Ziyan, watching the gap between herself and her fiancé yawn open, whispers, "Just how strong are you?" He clears it so fast, he reaches the deepest trial almost alone, and that final trial does something no one braced for. It doesn't test him. It rips his soul out of his pampered body and dumps it somewhere else entirely. He wakes in a city. Not a vision, a place. Iron Mist, in the dead immortal's own era, hundreds of years in the past, a walled city overrun by demonic beasts, and our villain wakes there, stripped down into a weak local body. None of his power, none of his treasures, a rusted sword at his hip, and a badge that reads City Guard Captain. Bai Si-han. For the first time in ages, our boy is genuinely fragile. He cracks his knuckles and grins anyway. The situation is exactly as ugly as the badge implies. A young soldier named Hong Tao tells him the beasts broke the wall 3 days ago. And every officer with rank and power fled to the safety of the inner city, abandoning the outer districts and everyone in them. The strong ran. The disposable stayed, and now the disposable have exactly one captain left. A boar-like spine-tusk devourer that's already wiped out 3 squads bursts into the street, and Hong Tao moves to throw his life away, buying time. "Are you stupid?" our boy snaps, shoving him back. "Stop trying to play hero." Then he does it the hard way. No chi, no sword intent, just centuries of combat knowledge in a weak body. Reading the charge, slipping past the tusks, and dropping a monster that terrified an entire garrison with cold, precise skill. The kills draw the broken city to him. Hiding guards, wounded civilians, children. One beast at a time, a dozen survivors become 30. 30 become 50. He gives no speeches and inspires nobody. He just refuses to die and refuses to let them die until a graveyard of a district has a spine again. The villain branded a monster back home is, absurdly, the only thing standing between these mortals and extinction. He doesn't trust their survival to heroics, so he organizes it like a war machine, one fortified shelter with a single choke point. A provisions team, a rescue squad, and a flat promise that anyone who breaks ranks gets thrown over the wall personally. Within a single day, in the middle of an apocalypse, the abandoned captain has built the command structure the real officers ran away from. And then the engineer in him goes to work, because a man with Earth memories isn't a stranded mortal, he's a modern mind in a Bronze Age siege. The cultivators of this era expect spells from a captain. He's about to give them chemistry. "Let them feel the power of modern warfare," he murmurs, and sends Hong Tao hunting for saltpeter. When Hong Tao hauls the ingredients back, our boy pulls a blacksmith named Lao Shen into a back alley to commit the unthinkable. 3 parts, 1 part, 1 part, he murmurs, mixing black powder by hand, while Hong Tao stares at the harmless-looking dust, certain nothing will happen. Our boy drops a burning rag in, and the alley erupts, a crack of thunder out of dirt, smoke and fire where there was nothing. Hong Tao reels back, ears ringing, looking at the stranger like he just stole power from the heavens. Our villain dusts off his hands. This world has never seen the war he's about to teach it. He walks Lao Shen through forging something even more unthinkable. A barrel, a chamber, a trigger, a gun in an age of swords and chi and flying cultivators. The blacksmith doesn't understand what he's building until the first one is done, and our boy weighs it in his hand like a man holding the future. Let them feel modern war. The first shot cracks across Iron Mist, and a charging demonic beast simply drops, a hole punched clean through it before it understood that death had a new shape. The survivors freeze, then roar. Our villain lowers the smoking weapon with the flat calm of a man who just rewrote the rules of an era. He doesn't stop at one. He arms his ragged survivors with crude black powder bombs and turns a doomed garrison into a firing line. Because explosives don't care what realm you cultivated. A terrified mortal with a bomb can drop a beast that would have flattened a squad. The man who was a helpless mortal this morning has handed an entire abandoned district the power to fight back. Then the trial throws its worst at the walls, a full demonic beast tide with a vicious grade 3 monster at the spear point, the kind of thing that should flatten a city of mortals. Gunfire cracks across the night, bombs bloom in the dark, and the survivors hold a line they were never supposed to hold. Because their captain is standing in the smoke instead of running from it, the grade 3 beast falls, the tide breaks. And our villain stands in the wreckage with a faint smile, while a city that was a graveyard at dawn cheers a survivor at midnight. A smile in the smoke, a triumph over a graveyard. The doomed cannon fodder villain just won a war that ended centuries before he was even born. When the trial finally yields its prize, our villain does the very last thing a greedy man is supposed to do. He hands the actual inheritance to his cousin, the heaven's chosen Bai Shinyu, and lets the protagonist take the legacy. You can have it. But he walks out holding the part he actually wanted, Thalian's remnant soul, sealed into a soul-confining artifact at his hip. He didn't lose the immortal. He pocketed her ghost, and he isn't done bleeding the trial dry. He endures the primordial chaos refinement a second time inside the ruins. More pain that should break a mind, more flesh torn down and rebuilt, and comes out stronger again. The boy who used to flinch at his sister now treats world-ending agony as a workout. The trial ends, and our villain leaves like he owns the place. But the real world has a bill waiting at the door, and it arrives in the dark, on assassin's feet. One night, masked killers slip into the Bai Clan with a single order whispered through spiritual distortion. Kill the targets, leave no trace. 5 of them lunge at Bai Zihan, sleeping in his pavilion, and the body melts into ash, a high-grade puppet dressed in his robes. A formation trap. Well, that took long enough, our boy says from the shadows, cracking his neck. I was beginning to wonder if you were skipping out. The hunters realize, far too late, that they were never the ones hunting. The eternal spirit sword leaps from his side like divine lightning, and the trap closes around them before they can react. He steps slowly into the shattered courtyard, smile razor sharp, the last one cornered and disarmed. How about a bargain? You tell me who sent you, and you walk away from this. The lone survivor breaks before the blade does, but the trail he coughs up only leads to a wall, a hidden organization, professional, patient, with no face and no name. Whoever paid to erase the waste just told our boy he's climbed high enough to be worth killing. He doesn't panic about an assassin in his bedroom. He treats it like a lead and files the thread away to pull later. Someone put his name on a list, and our boy quietly starts working out how to put theirs on his. That midnight strike was just the opening note. The Li and Zhao clans, still nursing old wounds, raised 2 true warships, one flying the Li clan's Golden Lion on a sea of flame. 1. The Zhao clan's Black Dragon coiled in lightning, and park them over the Bai estate like fortresses. Their stated grievance is the family's sins. Their real target is Bai Xinye, the rising heaven's chosen they want dead before she blooms into something they can't stop. The whole empire turns out to watch. Sects, rogue cultivators, imperial spies drifting in on clouds, all there to see whether the Bai clan stands or finally falls. Li Jianhong's voice booms down. Hand the girl over! Zhao Wutian dresses the threat in silk. The inheritance is too dangerous for one clan. They've only come to get justice for everyone. Conquest, wearing the mask of the greater good. Then a younger voice cuts across the patriarchs. Gentlemen, your speeches were lovely. Our villain steps to his father's side, dwarfed by 2 great ascension titans, and doesn't shrink an inch. But if you truly wanted to protect the empire, I'd recommend you go to the border, not come to my Bai clan. Li Jianhong snarls that juniors don't speak in patriarch affairs. Our boy claps slowly. I agree completely, just like it's none of your business what the Bai clan does with what we obtained. So Li Jianhong plays his trump, the buried scandal. Refuse us and risk your Bai clan's dark little secret coming to light. The crowd leans in, hungry, and our villain just laughs softly. That's it. That's the big threat. Then he turns to the entire empire and burns the leverage to ash with his own mouth. I, Bai Zihan, stole the Dao bone from my cousin, Bai Xinye. Stunned silence collapses over the sky. The crowd turns on him instantly. Thief, monster, disgrace. Exactly the infamy the schemers wanted. But our boy refuses to let them own the narrative. Don't act like you're all saints. On the path of cultivation, everyone here has done things they'd rather forget. Don't preach morality to me. Then he does the thing none of them imagined. He walks to the center of the courtyard and, in a blaze of light, draws the stolen Dao bone straight back out of his own body. No flinch, no hesitation. He holds the glowing Dao bone up for the whole continent to see. Half the watchers gasp, certain it's ruin. Giving up a Dao bone like this should cripple a cultivator forever. What none of them know is that it's pure theater. The bone sat safe in his system store the whole time, and this entire performance exists to steal back the moral high ground for the Bai Clan before a war. He staggers to Bai Xingyue and presses it into her hands without meeting her eyes. Take it, whether you forgive me or not. This belongs to you. The Dao bone she was written to kill him over fuses back into her in a pillar of golden light. And the cousin who came back to gut him stares at the dying-looking man who just handed her the thing that started it all. Why? She whispers. He gives her a tired, real smile. Maybe I was tired of pretending it didn't matter. The schemer's whole play detonates in their faces, but greed doesn't retreat, it doubles. Bai Xinyi with her Dao bone returned is an even richer prize. Li Jianhong's order comes cold and absolute. Attack! The warships light up, the Bai Clan's defensive formation cracks under the barrage, and hundreds of Li and Zhao cultivators pour over the walls, hunting a single girl. And the crippled Bai Zihan slumps at the rear, head down, the perfect helpless target. Exactly where Li Feng, the genius he humiliated 100 chapters ago, has been waiting to finally take his revenge. The trap is baited with our villain's own body, and the enemy walks straight toward it. But 3 women get there first. Chu Xian drops between him and the blades. Try touching him and see what happens. Bai Shuiqing arrives at his side with a sword of bone-deep frost. And then, impossibly, Bai Xinyu, the cousin sworn to hate him, screams, "No!" and shatters the formation caging her to reach him, not even understanding why her own heart won't let him die. Li Fang's strike falls toward the helpless waist, and our villain moves, just enough, wearing that trap-has-sprung smirk. The eternal spirit sword flashes once, and in a single clean stroke, the fight is simply over. Li Feng drops, finished, before the smile fades. Whew, that was close. Almost thought I'd have to do some acting. Never crippled, never weak. The victim was the bait the whole time. Off in the sky, his father is fighting 2 patriarchs at once, and then Bai Tianheng's aura erupts past both of them. Into late Great Ascension, a breakthrough bought with the very heaven-grade technique his son once handed him. One swing bends Zhao Wutian's blade and hurls him away. A backhand swats Li Jianhong through a mountain. The father the Empire underestimated is suddenly the strongest man on the field, courtesy of the son they all called trash. Our villain, meanwhile, turns hunter. He runs down 2 of the enemy's older generation geniuses, leaving Li Xuan beaten in the dirt, pinning Zhao Yu beside him, and flips the whole hostage game around. Withdraw your forces and never set foot here again. When the patriarchs coldly refuse to trade an inheritance for pawns, he makes a quiet, chilling example of his captives in front of Zhao Yi's panicking father, a wordless promise of exactly what's coming next. From predator to prey, in the space of one move. And then the war simply stops, because the sky tears. And a woman steps out of the rip on lotus sigils of light, and 3 patriarchs who were trying to kill each other a heartbeat ago stop and bow together.
Yue Wu Shuang, a fairy of the Flowing Moon sect, a sect not of this empire at all, but of one of the 5 supreme empires at the peak of the whole continent.
A single envoy outranks the Bai, Li, and Zhao clans combined. She didn't come for the war.
She came for Bai Xingyue, summoned, it turns out, by Elder Klinglong, who recognized exactly how far beyond this empire the girl's destiny runs.
Inheritance, Dao bone, phoenix physique, all in one body. The protagonist is about to graduate to a stage the whole desolate heaven empire is too small to hold. And before she's swept off the board forever, the oldest grudge in the entire story finally demands its duel. Bai Xinyu stands at her crossroads and turns to the cousin who was written to be her victim.
Let's fight. Our boy meets her eyes, the first time she can hold his gaze as an equal instead of a target, and draws the eternal spirit sword.
All right, she says, blade trembling like a struck star. I'll show you the difference between us. Their swords meet again and again, swift, precise, merciless. Phoenix physique against 9 racing shadows, her immortal trial technique against his looted divine blade.
And to everyone's disbelief, The waist stands dead even with a girl carrying a dalbone and a reborn phoenix in her veins.
How is he matching me? She breathes. We don't have time to waste, our villain says quietly.
I'll get serious now. His sword begins to sing with a sharp, terrible resonance, sword intent. And Bai Sinuette's blood runs cold, because she knows that will.
Even the flowing moon fairy watching took 30 years to grasp its basics. Our boy is 16. Unbelievable. He overpowers the protagonist outright and breaks her sword clean in two.
Bai Sinuette stares at the ruined steel, then at the cousin who was supposed to take her head, and the death flag the entire story leaned on snaps in half with the blade.
The system rewards the upset with a Saint-grade finishing technique, Fate-Severing Slash. A strike so far above his level, he can't even fully grasp it yet. He just beat Fate's Chosen and got handed a blade meant to cut Fate itself. The trajectory is the whole point. But the strangest reward isn't from the system. Standing over her broken sword, Bai Shenyi's hatred quietly dissolves, not into love, into respect, the grudging respect of one monster recognizing another. Unspoken, unforgotten. She leaves with Yue Wushuang for the Flowing Moon sect, vowing not revenge now, but to surpass him someday. The protagonist walks off the board as a rival, not an executioner. The girl written to end our villain just promised instead to chase him.
Our boy beat the plot at its own ending, and the whole empire is left whispering about the waste who stood over a Heaven's Chosen and let her walk. Time skips roughly a year, and we land near his 17th birthday, except the family idiot is now a soul formation cultivator at 17, a number that should simply be impossible. His father, finally seeing exactly what his son is, throws open the clan's most guarded core technique to everyone, lifting the whole family on the back of the boy they once pitied.
Then his father calls him into the study and hands him an errand wrapped in old shame.
I want you to go and invite your mother, Mu Yuelan, the woman who tore out Bai Sinue's dalbone for him.
Then vanished into estrangement, sheltering with her birth family, the alchemy-obsessed Mu clan, at a fearsome Great Ascension cultivation. Our boy raises an eyebrow. Shouldn't you be the one to invite her? His father's face darkens.
It's been a while since we talked.
So you want me to go because it's awkward for you. His father doesn't deny it. She'll come if you ask.
You're her son. Our boy clicks his tongue and agrees, on the condition the two of them actually talk it out this time.
He flies to the Mu clan, a misty mountain of pill furnaces and herb gardens, where everyone would rather discuss a root's quality for an hour than fight anyone. His uncle, clan leader Mu Qingyuan, sweeps him into a backslapping welcome. You've grown taller again, and look at you, soul formation already.
What are you eating over there? Dragon marrow and phoenix blood? The whole empire is singing the brat's name, and his uncle still can't quite believe it.
His mother is in her garden under a blossom tree when she hears the footsteps. Her head tilts. Zihaner! Then she's across the courtyard like a gust of wind, crushing her son into a hug before he can brace, fussing at his face.
Why are you so thin? Are you not eating?
Are you cultivating too hard again? The most feared genius of his generation gets pinched on the cheek and called baby boy in front of everyone. He invites her to his birthday, and she lights up. Already has 2 gifts ready, one to make up for the year she missed.
The reunion is warm, easy, almost ordinary.
And then his uncle, laughing, lets one word slip that shatters it. He's a soul formation cultivator now, and already engaged, too. The garden goes silent.
His mother's smile freezes. Engaged? Her voice drops to a flat, dangerous calm. Didn't father inform you? Our boy offers, scratching his cheek. He did not, she hisses through her teeth, and her spiritual aura swells until the herbs around her tremble. The proud matriarch's smile turns into something colder. He really asks for it. I'll kill him. And she rockets into the sky toward the Bai Clan, light blue robes streaming like a comet. Our boy stands frozen, then bolts after her, dragging the Grand Elder back onto the ship. They chase a furious Great Ascension Mother across the Empire at full speed, and still can't catch her.
Better to let them solve it themselves. The lazy elder shrugs from the railing. Our villain just grips the rail and watches his mother burn across the clouds toward his father's study. Damn it, she's speeding up again. The study doors blow off their hinges.
Bai Tianheng! Mu Yuelan crosses the room in a blink and yanks the clan leader up by his collar. A Great Ascension patriarch caught completely flat-footed by his own wife. He stammers, certain she's furious he arranged the engagement behind her back. I had my reasons. She shakes him. Do you seriously think I'm angry because you didn't inform me? Then comes the first twist. It's because I already promised our son's hand to someone else. His father blinks. Who? and she says the name that rearranges the whole story. Xin Yue. His mother had always meant for Bai Zihan to marry the very cousin she's accused of crippling, the girl whose Dao bone she tore out. His father's mind reels. Then why did you take her Dao bone? That could have crippled her, killed her. Mu Yulan's eyes blaze. That would never have happened. She has the phoenix physique. Even without her Dao bone, she would regenerate. Flesh, blood, her very Dao foundation. She'd known since the girl was born. The crime was a calculated risk on a body built to recover. But his father pushes. That still isn't a reason to do it. And then the floor drops out of the entire narrative. You think I did it to make him stronger? She snaps, voice finally cracking. I did it because if I hadn't, Zihan would have died. Years ago, the boy cultivated too hard, too young, his foundation unstable. He fell into chi deviation. His meridians shattered, his core collapsed, his soul came apart at the seams. Every pill, every imperial physician, every elixir failed. He was slipping away. One desperate doctor whispered the only option left. A Dao bone might stabilize the collapse. So his mother took the one Dao bone that belonged to a child who could survive losing it. I know what I did, she whispers, legs trembling but unbowed. I think about it every day. I did something unforgivable, but I would do it again, 1,000 times, if it meant saving my son's life. The villain mother who stole a fortune for her favored child turns out to be a mother who traded the unforgivable for a dying boy's heartbeat. The whole family's original sin was never greed. It was grief. His father staggers, the Iron Patriarch suddenly looking old. He remembers the truth he never let himself see. That while he was consumed by war with the Li clan, he heard Mu Yelan took the Dao bone, assumed the worst, and exiled both his wife and the girl without ever asking why. I didn't know, he says hoarsely. I didn't even try to know. For the first time in the story, the unbreakable clan leader apologizes. I'm sorry, Yulan. She doesn't pretend it fixes anything. The years are gone. The girl is across the world with the Flowing Moon sect. The engagement she planned is already someone else's. But the 7-year wound between his parents finally stops bleeding. When our boy bursts in expecting a corpse, he finds them both alive and impossibly calm. So, you two finally worked things out? His mother smiles. It was just a small misunderstanding. Our villain decides not to ask. With the war behind them, his mother insists on meeting the daughter-in-law she only just learned about. Chu Ziyan, the cold demon woman who once schemed to leash our boy, finds herself standing stiff as a board under a Great Ascension matriarch's appraising stare, bowing too deeply, hands trembling. Mu Yulan studies her a beat too long, then softens. You have good manners. That's a good start. The two women end up over tea, and the ice melts into something dangerous for our boy. Gossip. By the time he wanders back in, his mother and his fake fiancé are laughing like old friends, trading childhood stories. Do you want to hear it too, crybaby? Chu Ziyan asks, barely holding back a grin. His ears go red. Mother. His nickname as a boy was Crybaby, the clan leader's talentless son, jealously bullied, who wept after every beating, until one year, the ones crying were the people who'd mocked him. His mother sighs over the memory. Chu Ziyan watches him sideways, and something shifts. She'd assumed he was lazy and arrogant by nature. Now she sees a boy who was simply weak, and chose never to be weak again. The leash she came to fit slips a little further from her hand. His 17th birthday arrives as a statement, not a party. Floating lanterns, imperial envoys, clan leaders, sect elders, the whole empire crammed into the Bai Clan to see whether the family barely survived the war or came out thriving. Our boy walks down the steps in black and gold robes, Chu Ziyan at his side, and not a single soul dares sneer the way they did at his engagement a year ago. His father gives him a robe of sky-weave silk, fire and blade resistant, worth the revenue of a small city. Because the man already gave away an Earth-grade artifact and realized any treasure he owns is beneath a son who wields a heaven-grade sword and a saint-grade slash. His mother adds a top-grade 6-tier bloodline foundation pill, and the crowd audibly chokes at a gift valued like a city handed over as a stocking stuffer. But his mother isn't finished. From her sleeve, she draws a slim sandalwood case and lifts out a dark jade hairpin, veined with gold, a single blood-red gem at its crown. It is not a treasure meant for battle, she says softly, placing it in his palm, but it carries the will of your mother and your clan. Wear it when you must stand before the world as yourself. Her voice drops to a whisper only he can hear. No matter how far you rise, you are still my son. For once, the unflappable villain has nothing clever to say. He just bows his head. Thank you, mother. Then the empire shows its hand. The third prince, Yu Wenzhao, glides up with a low earth-grade sword named Clearflow and a velvet-wrapped pitch for alliance. The court watches the rise of dragons.
The Empire needs true pillars, those who don't just shine, but hold the heavens up. Our boy turns the offer over and answers with flawless, weaponized obliviousness.
So, Your Highness means we share the same appreciation for craftsmanship. The prince's smile freezes. He walks off with a clenched fist, and his alliance politely unheard.
Then the fourth princess, Yu Qingya, the one who froze a sect patriarch in a single strike,
Drifts forward and outbids her brother with top Earth-grade starlight armor that can shrug off a great ascension blow. She leans in, fan flicking, voice low enough for only a few to catch. But even armor blessed by starlight cannot shield one from all dangers. A pause. But what if you were married to a princess? Gasps ripple out like a dropped stone. An imperial proposal, the throne itself offered with a single sentence, and her eyes flick once, dismissively, toward Chu Zian, as if the fiancé were furniture.
the whole courtyard holds its breath to see whether the waste will trade his arranged bride for a crown. Our boy smiles. Warm. Easy. Then he reaches out and takes Chuzian's hand like it's the most natural thing in the world. Your Highness, this one is flattered beyond words. Truly.
But I'm afraid the position beside me has already been claimed by my beautiful fiancé. Chuzian's breath catches. Her face goes scarlet. She knows it's a move, a shield, a convenient rejection, and still her heart slams. The demon woman who came to control him just got publicly chosen and hated how much she liked it. The princess's eyes narrow to frost. An engagement is a matter of the past. It can be broken. I offer more than affection or beauty, something no other girl can. The throne, plainly. Consider it seriously and give me a proper answer. Then she turns and glides away, leaving the offer hanging over the party like a blade.
Our boy just keeps holding a flustered Chuzian's hand and lets the Empire chew on the fact that he turned down a princess without blinking.
Long after the lanterns gutter low and the royals and clan leaders drift off, our villain slips away to a quiet magnolia tree and runs the year through his head.
3 heavens chosen survived, hunted, or recruited. A waste reforged into the most feared name of his generation. He summons the system almost fondly, the same English curse that wrecked 16 years of his life, now the engine of all of it.
Let's hope this year is just as interesting as the last one. One last figure steps out of the shadows, Luo King, the maid who was the very first person to notice his eyes had changed.
Back when he was still the cured idiot, she stammers a happy birthday and shoves a plain little box into his hands before fleeing, nearly tripping on her own robe.
Inside is a humble hand-woven belt, the stitching slightly uneven, made for him.
Of every treasure he received tonight, the city-priced robe, the princess's starlight armor, our boy turns the simple belt over in the moonlight and decides it's the one that actually means something.
Silly girl.
A year later, the Empire's grandest stage lights up, the Dragon and Phoenix competition, where every genius under 25 fights for glory, fortune, and a name carved in stone.
Our villain isn't there to compete.
He's there because a stage like this is exactly where a hiding protagonist comes to show off, and he wants to see who walks into his detector's range. He doesn't even take a VIP box, just slides into the public stands and waits, doing nothing, as though listening for a sound only he can hear. Then it comes. The system pings in golden English only he can read. Heaven chosen detected. His eyes narrow. He's 99% sure who it is. And then it pings a second time. 2 notifications, back to back. 2 heaven chosen in one? The profiles unfold. The first is Nie Fengzhuo, his sister's discarded ex-fiancé, the crippled trash from Chapter 1.
Now a 4-star fate, secretly already at soul formation, his cultivation forged through humiliation and refusal to kneel, an ancient sovereign's bloodline stirring in his veins.
The classic protagonist, hardened in fire, circling back for revenge. But the second profile is the freakish one. Gu Changsheng, a 5-star fate, a supreme immortal whose body died long ago, but whose soul rides inside Nie Fengshuo's spiritual ring, mentoring him, lending him timeless power, waiting on a forbidden revival art to be reborn whole. A protagonist carrying a dead immortal at his hip, with a master who's destined to be greater than the disciple. Our boy mutters, "What kind of freak combination is this?" And then his own passenger stirs. Phalian, the immortal whose ghost he pocketed in the ruins, wakes at the scent of her own kind. There's a powerful soul attached to that boy's ring. His power might have been close to mine before death. A cold, beautiful idea blooms behind our villain's red eyes. If Ni Feng Fo's forbidden art can revive a dead immortal,
Couldn't the same method bring Phalian back as his own ally? That single thought rewrites how he sees the protagonist sworn to destroy his sister. The textbook move is to kill the rising hero before he blooms, but a living Ni Fengchua might one day hand him an immortal emperor. To kill or to use? Our boy leans back and watches, weighing a man's life like a coin he hasn't decided which way to flip. On the stage, Ni Fengchua answers the question of whether he's earned his fate grade. 4 cultivators gang up to drop the favorite first, and he catches a full-power saber strike between 2 fingers. Too weak. A flick shatters the blade, a single palm folds the man into the barrier. The other 3 coordinate every technique they have. One stomp of his foot erases all of it. 2 years ago, he was chi refining trash. Now he clears a stage without drawing breath. But then the protagonist does something off-script. He points across the arena, straight at our boy, and challenges him. His immortal master panics in his ear, begging him to stand down. But Ni Fengzhuo's pride won't bend. Young Master Bai, how about a spar? The whole crowd inhales, certain they're about to watch the Empire's most feared genius crush the upstart. Our villain studies him, and instead of accepting, he asks the obvious question. Why challenge me? Ni Fengzhuo bites back. You're not here by coincidence. You're here because of Bai Shuiqing. And our boy bursts out laughing, a real, head-thrown-back, hysterical laugh that startles the stands. You think I'm here because of my sister? Whatever Bai Shuiqing does with her life is none of my concern. The protagonist's whole revenge framework wobbles in real time. Then our villain detonates the bombshell nobody saw coming. Not a counter-challenge, an invitation. How about this, Ni Fengzhuo? Why don't you join the Bai Clan? A marriage alliance with the very man his sister humiliated. The arena erupts.
Did he just say join the Bai Clan? Our boy, of course, isn't being kind. He's quietly trying to leash an immortal emperor in waiting before the man can become an enemy.
Nie Fengzhuo the face twists with disgust. Bai Zihan, you really are as shameless as the rumors say.
There's no way I'll accept such nonsense, and you know why. Our boy just shrugs and walks him through the cold logic anyway. Engagements break. His sister chose poorly. The Bai clan once protected the Ni clan for years, and half the man's downfall was his own pride. He laid out a real door. The protagonist slammed it. His choice. Then comes the move that measures exactly how high our villain has climbed. He declines the duel, and then declines the entire Dragon and Phoenix competition the whole empire is salivating over. An offer rejected, a challenge denied. I just don't find it interesting. The grandest arena geniuses would kill to stand in simply isn't worth his attention anymore. He turns and strolls off, leaving a frozen protagonist and a stadium of dropped jaws behind him. When the real competition opens, the Empire's giants pour in on divine warships. Rival sects, the Li and Zhao clans, hungry for payback. And the one name everyone's scanning for is missing. Must be scared.
The fraud would be exposed if he competed. Then, without a word, our boy arrives, walks past bowing guards, and sits down in the clan leader's seat of the Bai clan's pavilion.
No announcement, no permission asked. The strictest protocol-bound elders simply nod.
In the absence of his father, the boy once called a hopeless idiot is treated, naturally and without question, as the man in command of the Empire's strongest clan.
High above, the first prince, Yu Zidi, watches him and murmurs. So that's him. Doesn't look like much. But the prince knows better. He investigated everything, hunting for leverage to win the young man over, and found nothing he could use. Parents too powerful, a sister with no real attachment, a fiancé that's a political title, enemies he couldn't shield him from, treasures he couldn't outbid. The prince reached one conclusion only: never make Bai Zihan your enemy. The matches blur past, most ending in a few moves. His sister, Bai Shuiqing, settles her own bout without even moving her feet. One brush of her sword turns aside a charging spear, and the next instant, the edge rests at her opponent's throat. I surrender. Just another moment for the ice-cold genius. Our boy lazily closes his eyes again, exactly as expected. Then comes the match that matters to our villain, his handyman, Lin Xuan, the floor scrubber he bet on when the boy was nobody. Draws Jin Wenzan of the Azure Sun Holy Sect, a full realm above him, his core fused with a sundial stone. Jin mocks the miracle servant, then makes his fatal mistake. He insults Bai Zihan. He is a coward, after all. Lin Xuan's calm finally cracks. You can insult me, but don't speak of young master. Say another word and I'll kill you. The fight should be a slaughter, and instead, the handyman matches a higher realm prodigy move for move on flawless technique alone, then unleashes the 10,000 sword nirvana slash, a forbidden heaven-grade art only sect masters are meant to grasp. It cleaves fire, barrier, and the sky itself, opening a red line across Jin's chest. The boy our villain saved from the servant quarters just outclassed a sundial prodigy.
Junyuan Zhan, humiliated and desperate, burns his own Sundao Stone core to win by raw force, hammering the exhausted Lin Suen down with brute strength until the referee calls it.
Lin Suen loses, but the whole arena knows the truth. A former handyman forced one of the Empire's brightest stars to cripple himself just to survive.
Even in defeat, he stole the day, and our boy quietly has a grade 5 healing pill sent to keep his investment breathing. The kid paid his debt on the Empire's biggest stage.
Then Ni Fengshuo delivers his own upset. A Zhao clan elite struts up expecting an easy win and eats a single clean slash that ends him on the spot.
The protagonist who was trashed 2 years ago humiliates one of the top 3 clans in one move, and the Empire finally stops laughing at his name.
The plot's hero is rising right on schedule, exactly as our villain calculated. Afterward, his sister corners him, furious about the marriage offer to her ex-fiancé. Do you care about anything besides your schemes? Do you even think about how this affects my face? Our boy meets her glare flatly. No, I don't care about face. Face doesn't protect the clan or build strength.
It's vanity, and for the bigger picture, vanity must be sacrificed. He has a real plan, he tells her, but she wouldn't understand it. He can hardly explain that her ex-fiancé is the key to resurrecting an immortal emperor, so he turns it into a wager. If you win the Dragon and Phoenix competition, I'll yield, obey whatever you say, 3 times, no matter what. And if she loses? She stops interfering and helps him bring Ni Fengzhuo into the clan. Bai Shuiqing's eyes flash, and she throws his own arrogance right back. Sure, be ready to serve me like a servant after I win, because that's what I'm using those promises for. Our boy just smiles. No problem. If a Heaven's Chosen can't even clear his own destiny, he was never a threat to begin with. As our villain leaves, the story raises its biggest name. An emissary in imperial gold blocks his path and bows low. Greetings, young Master Bai Zihan. I come on behalf of His Highness, the First Prince. He wishes to meet with you. The kind of summons no one in the Empire refuses. Our villain doesn't even slow his stride. If he has something to ask of me, then he should come to me himself. Those who are begging should go to the giver, not the other way around. The emissary's face drains white. A former clan waste just told the future emperor to make the trip himself. Far away, when the message lands, the first prince goes quiet for a long, dangerous moment, then chuckles softly. Interesting. He isn't insulted. He's intrigued. But his pride won't let him chase a junior, and he has no chip to bargain with, so he lets it go and turns to easier clans. The most powerful man in the Empire just blinked first, and our boy never even looked back. And on that razor's edge, the last thread drops. Kang Zhanhong, the gossip rat our villain planted a lifetime and 100 chapters ago, comes hurrying with the lead our boy has been quietly chasing all along. A trail, at last, on the hidden assassin organization behind that midnight strike. The same faceless shadows that paid to erase him. Our boy sits up, takes the slip, eyes narrowing. Where? The boy fate-marked to die in Chapter 1 isn't dying as written. He closed the system, opened his eyes, and started hunting the very protagonists who were supposed to bury him, and every flag the heavens planted around his neck, he turned into a step. An immortal's ghost rides at his hip. A saint-grade slash waits in his hands. A princess waits on an answer. A prince waits on his pleasure. A sister he's promised to make kneel. And now, a fresh trail of prey pulling him forward. He's not the cannon fodder anymore. He's the thing the cannon fodder is afraid of. And our villain is only just getting started. Битов. 190 ставь в софте 190 кадров. Реальный хронометраж 85-90 минут. Плотная озвучка с прямой речью, как в Янмо. 66 слова бит, 12600 слов. Голый расчет скилла по 7,5 сек кадр. Дает 24 минуты. Игнорируй. Ориентируйся на объем текста. Рекап режим выкл. Рерайт выкл. Vision Reroll выкл.